time to take a look at what's grabbing headlines here in France. Now, it's our press review with Florence.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi there, Flo. A lot on politics, of course, at the moment. It's a lot of political upping and downing, coming and going. In the aftermath of the Conservative primary, François Fillon's crushing victory there, the big question is, what's next for Fillon?
Well, no rest for Fillon. He certainly can't rest on his laurels. He has a lot of work to do now, and his main challenge, according to the Catholic paper Croix, is to bring everyone together, because you can see they're talking about le défi du rassemblement. He has to rally the rest of voters, because he clearly won a majority of conservative voters. He has a clear base amongst conservatives, but now he has to get all of France together if he wants a chance to win the election next year. And so if you take a look inside La Croix, you can see they're focusing on how he's going to address all of French people, how he's going to appeal to all of them.
Yeah, he's going to reach out beyond his base, so he has to if he wants to win, I suppose. And round one is not until April the 23rd. Many newspapers are wondering, aren't they, this morning, if Fillon is going to change his programme to try and convince a majority of voters.
That's right, because he won that conservative primary on what was been called a radical program, this very socially conservative, free market economic program. Now, while that appeals to a lot of people in the Conservative Party, it could alienate a lot of people, particularly on the left. And so you can see Le Figaro here wondering, okay, now that he's won the Conservative primary, is he going to soften, water down his program to appeal to everyone else? Well, Les Echos interviewed some people in Fillon's entourage that said, don't count on it. He's not a flip-flopper. You don't know Fillon 1 minute if you think he's going to water down his project. That's what one of his advisors told Les Echos. He's going to stand his ground on his promise of radical change.
Okay, so that backs up perhaps some of the comparisons between François Fillon and Britain's Margaret Thatcher. The lady was not for turning, she said in her own words. Yesterday, François Fillon said that he actually didn't mind that comparison.
That's right. Fillon has always been very clear about his admiration for the Iron Lady. Yesterday, he said he totally accepted being compared to leaders who managed to fix their countries. Now, of course, Margaret Thatcher is quite a controversial character. Some people don't really appreciate how she pushed through reform.
Putting it lightly, yeah.
Exactly. To be diplomatic about it. You can see Les Echos here. Very interesting interview with a man named Pierre Gattaz. He is the leader of the main business representative union here in France, and he's actually trying to soften, nuance that comparison to Margaret Thatcher. You can see this quote here saying, look, he's not so much Margaret Thatcher, he's more like the former German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder, who was all about reform, but in a less divisive way.
Okay, interesting. We'll see how that shapes up. Whether or not François Fillon manages to soften his project, though, he's unlikely, isn't he, to convince voters really on the left wing of French politics, the far left especially. Particularly, a very controversial part of his plan, which is scaling back France's famously generous welfare state.
That's right. Let's take a look at L'Humanité, the communist paper, which is alarmed by the what it calls the reactionary bulldozer it sees crashing towards France's public sector. Fillon has said that he wants to cut at least 500,000 jobs in the public sector. So you can see L'Humanité here focusing on the fonctionnaires, these civil servants that are bracing themselves for these amputations. And you can see Fillon here actually looking like a surgeon. And L'Humanité says his whole program is really dangerous when it comes to the welfare state.
Okay, and it's not just his economic programme that's controversial, of course, it's his social stance, his stance on social issues, abortion, gay marriage, things like that.
That's right, because he's got a lot of support from very traditional Catholics, and he himself has always been very clear about his Catholic faith, which makes some people uncomfortable here in secular France. I like this cartoon by Willem here in Libération. You can see him praying here, and those two little priests in the background saying, what in the world is he doing? Well, he's propping up the country with his prayers.
Okay. It's not just on the right that things are moving, is it? The left of French politics is very much in the spotlight today. The left seems a little bit,
a little
lost, tearing itself apart, some commentators say.
Absolutely, because we have the right wing that's really rallying behind one candidate, while the left is just riddled with divisions. There are many candidates that are starting to pop their heads up for next year's presidential election. Let's take a look at the front page of Libération. They really don't mince their words today. They they actually liken the left to the Titanic. You can see La Gauche Titanic on course for a major collision. It's suicidal, and Libération takes a look at the many candidates that we're seeing. Well, not all of them are official, but many people are suggesting they might run in next year's presidential election. Les irresponsables, they are irresponsible. The left should be rallying around one candidate. Now, we've seen, for instance, François Fillon, the president, and his prime minister, Manuel Valls, in a major spat over this issue. Neither have confirmed whether or not
Quite
they're
extraordinary.
running.
The president and the prime minister are at odds there.
Absolutely. Le Parisien is losing its patience. When is this going to end? Combien de temps ça va encore durer? So, seems like that spat is over for now, but it could get a little worse.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid. Thanks very much. Florence Villeminot there with the press review. Stay tuned here on Live from Paris. More news coming up. Plus, in today's Focus Report, Germany has the oldest population in Europe. Now it's been doing all it can to boost its low birth rate. We'll find out how.